America's identity is so many things. Freedom, family values, barbecues, knife fights in the Denny's parking lot. Without these, I wouldn't love this country half as much as I do. Just the same as you do. America is more divided than ever. Whether you prefer dogs to cats or Christ to Yaldabaoth, we can all agree on what's important. Through times like these, we are the hardest working, most passionate, and while we oftentimes get a little out of hand, then shit in the sandbox, we do it with our heads held high and a bald eagle carrying away oil barrels from people who can't stop us. It's important that we, as a people, love each other. To forget the harsh day-to-day brought upon us by the same people who funded this ad campaign. However, I will not cower to their party line. Just because they have strange pictures of me in my house at hours I know I was alone. Truth, beyond all measure, is what is most important. I've come here to give you that truth. The truth of the matter is that everyone you think is behind your suffering is actually just a small part of a bigger problem. I'm talking, of course, about those among us who would want us to be destroyed from the inside out in order to serve their own purpose. I'm talking about the Zorgoneans. When they first arrived here outside of Palm Beach, they brought with them gifts from their home world, which have become synonymous with everyday American life. I have to hand it to them. We wouldn't survive as a culture without thrift stores or the Dodge Jeep Ram. Those things won us the West, and I am eternally grateful to them for granting us this victory. However, that gratefulness has been repaid in full. Since bringing us these gifts, they have committed atrocity after atrocity. This information wouldn't have been given to me had I not gotten so close to the campaign where one nearly became president. I was a top staffer for the Bobbins campaign in 2024, and although we lost, we had a long night of celebrations. Why? The election didn't matter. Bobbins told me that they've been controlling our policy for centuries, and not just Americans. He brought up the crucifixion of our Lord. They were in the room during the Ides of March. That phrase, et tu, Brute, never happened. It never happened. The guy who stabbed him was Gzbzek. The guy who wrote down what happened, E.T. Yeah, that deformed little fuck who captured America's hearts, he was in on it. That's how we got the lead and role. You may be telling yourself that that's a long wait for payment on such an important moment. Yeah, they got bigger stuff to repay. Caesar? He had nothing on the dude who rerouted the Yellow River and toppled an entire Chinese imperial dynasty 25 times. I can't blame him for the 14th one. That was just God's plan. Genghis Khan? Yeah, that was a Zorgonian. You really think that Mongolian throat singing is real? Hell no, they're trying to contact the hive mind. The Hindenburg explosion? 2 of them were playing with tasers next to a hydrogen tank. Potato famine? The British did that, but I know who gave them the idea. Want to know why slavery wasn't outlawed the moment America came together? Unity in Congress, right? The half that was against it? All of them Zorgonian. Jefferson Davis never existed. His name was Blomble, and he had a lisp. One of their favorite methods of pushing their plans forward is assassination. We've already recovered Caesar, so let's just go through the other highlights on their resume. Frederick Barbarossa. No king would die in such a stupid fucking way. He didn't get drowned out of hubris. They held that motherfucker's head on the water and laughed while pocketing money from the Ottoman Sultan. Abraham Lincoln. We've been over that one of them led the CSA. They can't have us know that we can beat him, so they got rid of the one man who did. Archduke Franz Ferdinand. You might think that it was to start World War I, and you'd be right to a certain degree, but no. It was to use that war to topple the Russian Tsardom and install communism in the Soviet Union. What does that lead to? The German Reich, World War II, and eventually American hegemony over the entire world. Vladimir Lenin. Some might say he died of a fever. They were right. I just think it's very coincidental that Sterzen and his shrunken tiny arm was able to take over so quickly afterward. I'm not throwing an allegation here. I just think it's weird. Then, with Sterzen in power, we have the entire world divided between 2 power blocks in the Cold War. You had the United States, which at this point is completely under the control of the Zorgonians, and the Soviet Union, which was basically founded by them. However, we value freedom a bit too much. The Constitution is too powerful of a document, like a cross to a vampire for them. So what do? They start pushing the boundaries. This eventually leads to JFK trying his best to tell the American people about it. He gets killed and replaced, people start to question it. They silence the assassin they paid and send us to Vietnam to keep us distracted, just long enough for us to abandon the gold standard in place of fiat currency that they control. Finally, we're here in the modern era. They've just about taken full control, but they need to weed out any dissent in the public, so what did they do? The war on terror. Just look at this picture. Need I say more? They are now actively killing and celebrating the deaths of Americans and using it as a means to control the president and to pass the Patriot Act. Edward Snowden tried to stop him, and they sent that man to Siberia. These things are responsible for so much more. They started the crack epidemic. They got your kids into vaping by just saying that the nicotine was an essential oil. Hell, the monster in your closet, that motherfucker is real. His name is Zorgoneans. He took your Game Boy Color. We have it on tape. Look, right there. There he is. Taking a sock, too. Not even a sexual thing for him. They don't breed like we do. That was just to annoy you when you try to find it later. Some of them just do shit because it's funny to them, too. They're not part of the grand plan. They do it because they are evil by default. Here's one sneaking around in the Appalachian Mountains. This one killed Tupac for no reason other than he didn't want the beef to die down. That motherfucker there designed GameStop's trading policy, and his friend decided to make the industry standard. These things need to be stopped. Which is why I'm gonna stop Mr. Bobbins and the rest of this threat to America. Join me. I am Alex Bones, and I approve this message.
This is the police. Come on out.
Oh my god.